inside another dimension, face battling barbarians and evil magic on a quest for adventure in a maze of monsters. Once you get into it, you'll never be the same. Hero Quest. Now with 2 new adventure packs, the legend grows.
Hi, welcome back to Not Your Mother's Hobbies. Sorry for my voice, I got a little bit of a cold here, but today we're looking at the last of our big monsters in Jungles of Delthrak. Some cool crystals, I love that hammer. We got the Giant Ape. Love me a Giant Ape. Just a very classic pulpy monster, whether it's Conan or some other fantasy. Big old chunky ape is super fun to have, always a blast. So let's get into it, let's paint this. We're going to start off with the fur, and we're going to do a big old gorilla guy. So Black Templar for the fur, and he's got big huge patches on his shoulders, his forearms, his back, his legs and head and whatnot. So basically anywhere that you see the chunky fur, we're going to paint with this Black Templar. So just load up and go all around. Try to avoid areas like the ears. We want to keep that different, as well as the knees, the elbows, stuff like that. You can blend it in a little bit if you want to, but dry brushing later will take care of some of that blending. Basilicanum Gray, this is going to be the tone to differentiate the lighter furred areas and the skin areas. So that's like his big old belly there, his hands, his elbows, his feet, and his knees, things like that. And also his face and ears, of course. And here you can see we're just painting all over those knees and not really worrying about the fur around it. You can even use this Basilicanum Gray to touch up any areas of the black fur that might have missed, or pooling didn't happen, or whatever. You can see there's some little dots all around. It's all going to mix together anyway, so you don't have to be too clean. We're going to use Snakebite Leather. This is going to be for the leather wrappings around his big old bony club, as well as the crystal hanging from his necklace. So just go around there and try to be clean. He's got some teeth and claws or something that are wrapped around that club as well. So you can do your best to try to be precise and not really paint over top of that. But you could always go back with a white or an off-white, whatever have you, and clean that up. I usually use Wraithbone, and you can use that to clean up those areas and retouch up those teethy bones. We got Guilliman Flesh. We're going to use this all in his mouth and just paint liberally all up in there, because it'll blend in the teeth. It'll make the teeth really match that mouth and give it a red tone to those teeth. Maybe he's chomping on some meat. You got Skeleton Horde. We're going to use this for all the bone, and because we've already got a brown color in there, you don't have to be too accurate when it comes to those trophy teeth on the club. Now I am going to use Bold Titanium White here to touch up and intensify the white undertone of his crystals. And that's because if you've watched my Skullblight video, I wasn't really happy with the Zenithal undertone darkening the green gems, giving them too much of a muddied dark tone. I've actually gone back on my Skullblights and done this very same thing, repainting the gems. You can see with the Mantis Warrior green on top that this really makes that green pop and is punched up and very much brighter, and I just like overall how it looks much better. So just go around with that green and apply it to your crystals. Now we have a lot of dry brushing ahead of us, and we're going to use Dark Reaper for our first mid-tone on the gorilla's black fur. You know that we use this color on a lot of our blacks. I like it. It's kind of like a bluey, rubbery black, and I think adding a blue tone to black is pretty good. So go all around with that. And Stormburn and Fur, we're going to use this for the skin areas. This is going to brighten up those areas as our first mid-tone, and as well as help to blend in with the black fur that we got going on. You can also spot highlight in here and clean up any pooling or streaking, kind of even out that skin tone and just get it prepped for any highlights after that. We're going to use Wraithbone here and do the teeth, as well as to brighten up those bones used on his club and the big old bone for the bone handle. But just go in there and brighten up some teeth, the trophy ones and the ones in his mouth. as well as that big old bone. Now we're going to come back in with Black Templar and do his toenails, as gorillas have these blackened toenails from what I can tell. And so go in there and pop them in. There's not that many. Mostly it's the toenails. The hand ones, I think only a couple ones you can see. We're going to use Fenrisian Gray, and we're going to dry brush that all around on the shoulders and the butt and the forearms and anything that is going to be raised and catching light. You can do 1 or 2 or even 3 layers, just building up that tone, whatever brightness for that black fur you like, while retaining that contrast. We're going to use Administratum Gray to do the exact same thing on the more fleshy bits, so his knees, his belly, his toes, his hands, and his face. You can also go in and do the same thing with the layering brush and paint in some highlights directly in there. You can see here we're doing that on the elbow. There's lots of little wrinkles and details in there that can pop out really nicely. You can see here on this fist, I am doing some little lines, and that's to paint in some wrinkly kind of skin detail, as well as we're doing it on the belly to just get some of that fur detail going. Otherwise, it might look a little bit strange to do it too flat. As well, don't forget to do the face. We got lots and lots of detail up in there that you can highlight, increase the contrast, as well as really make that expression seen. And for our last and final highlight on the skin, particularly on the face, we're going to use Gray Sear, and that's really going to make those features pop. And then a quick little dry brush of Bolt Titanium White on top of that big crystal, as well as the one hanging down on his neck. And I don't show it, but I do dot in some white for his eyes. It was just a tricky little angle to get on the camera. You can also use that white to do any additional highlighting on the teeth or the decorative teeth on his hammer if you want those to be seen a bit more. Then we base it as normal with a gray paint, texture paint, dry brush, wash, and a dry brush. And there you have it. Our big old giant ape gorilla man, monkey man is finished. You can see those eyes that I had told you I put in. They're sparkling and shining inside those deep set sockets. The hammer is looking all right, nice and bright, much more bright than those skull blights. The fur has a lot of different coloration. It still blends in nicely together. Really like how this one turned out for such a simple kind of monochrome paint scheme. It really pops and you see everything going on. Lots of details in there, even if it is just fur. You could very easily use this paint scheme for any other monkeys or apes you got going on. Does not have to be Hero Quest. This works for everything that is hairy and monkey man. So I hope you do. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and what we came up with. Only a few more miniatures left in Jungles of Delthrak before we get to the heroes. I want to thank everybody for watching. I want to give a shout out to the patrons and their support over there. Give a big old likey or thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments down below what you're painting, what you're looking forward to that's left with the Jungles of Delthrak. Hopefully my voice will be better in the next video, but until then, see you later. Bye-bye!